to talk about in this class. So we've stepped down, I think, a couple of notches from the last class, but you guys, you were here in the last one, but but it's still a good course. The one thing, one thing that was mentioned in the first class, that these are all available for you to download. The problem with them is their password, and the national doesn't allow you to make any changes to it. So even if you download them on your computer, you can't tweak them, unfortunately, because there's a couple of things that would have been a lot easier in this presentation if we could put just a few more words on a couple of these slides. But that's all right. So
you can send the information back to them though.
Will they?
And they'll consider making changes.
They'll consider it.
That's all they'll do is.
That's all they do. But that's good to know. So anyway, what we're going to be doing in this is recognize the role of the mentors, understanding the mentoring method. So what is a mentor?
Sorry.
Oh God, you're always late.
There's always something, 10% who can't get the word.
Don't get the word, or they get the word and they ignore it.
That's right.
That's what
Sorry.
Example, I think, if you're a mentor, you're an example.
You are an example, and unfortunately, we're all examples all the time, aren't we? And and trying to be a good example. There's a few of us here that don't even bother to be a good example. But no, we're not going to mention your names.
No.
So a mentor is a guide, counselor, a friend, a supporter, a teacher, and a role model. An awful big, huge responsibility. But we all are all of these things at one point or another, just because of the roles that we're in, and obviously the responsibility that comes with being in those roles. So we'll break that down. So a mentor is the guy in the back helping the other guy up the road. So we're an aide, an assistant, somebody to support someone else. So what do mentors do? So one of the things that they like to do is to make these things where you've got a way to remember what a mentor is. So mindset. So what do they mean by mindset?
Perspective is worth a lot. All right, perspective.
Perspective, yes, exactly. That's the word we're looking for.
Mindset.
Go ahead.
Like, be aware.
Okay.
Be aware that somebody's gonna look at you and maybe do what you do. Like, for example, when I go to my children's school, I don't cut across the street. I walk to the crosswalk, even though it's a few more steps, because if one kid sees what I do and does what I do, if I do something wrong, and heaven forbid there's somebody's not aware and that kid gets hurt, that's on me, whether it's tomorrow or 10 years from now.
And you will never know that it's on you. That's one of those things that, you do, and you become the example, and you have no idea in the world of who you affect, or good or bad. So
I think we have to be careful with this, because if you have a fixed mindset and it's not the right mindset, what you have to have is an open mindset where you are willing to accept
very good.
others' ideas.
Very good. All right, environment. What's that? So you think of it in the role of being a commissioner. What environment are we interested in? The unit that we're going to see.
Scouting environment.
Right, so their environment. So do you go in and you know this already, our role as a commissioner is not to change the unit's environment. for their mindset. It's to understand where they are and where they're coming from and why they do the things that they do. Go ahead.
One of the things that the training tells you, the online training, and we can talk about it here, is not to be a distraction, to be an observer, to be the fly on the wall, or not to try to get in the middle of the meeting and do our observation like that.
Yeah,
And that's one of the things. And it even says, don't even bring in a notebook. Just watch what's going on and know that that's their environment, how they're.
because you don't want them to feel like you're the guy that's watching them to see if they're doing it right or wrong. That's the thing we want to avoid. And so is there a wrong environment? Is there a right environment? Is the way they run their meetings, is there a wrong way? Not really. There's lots of different ways to do it.
Yeah.
And there's maybe totally different than anything you've ever seen, but if it works for them, then it's still okay. All right? Okay, network, what's that? Just what you think it is. You are to help them find the people they need to help them do their job. Networking. Being able to identify people that can aid, can help them do something they want to do. Introduce them to people that they don't, they've never been introduced to. So you're the networker. All right, you want to be able to build trust with the unit leaders. They want to be able to trust you. They don't want to feel like that you're going back and ratting on them because of something they're doing. That's not your job.
That's the most important thing about being a mentor is
Exactly.
they trust you and
They
you
trust
trust
you,
them.
yeah. And we'll get to that in just a second. So you want to be also open-minded, right? And you're going to help with, how are you going to help with retention? Why do people stay in the program and work for the crappy wages that we get?
It's an hour a week, right?
It is, but sorry. An hour a week. It's so many, how many times I've heard it. Just.
Won't cost you any money, won't
So,
take any of your time.
But, how do we affect that? What do you do to affect retention?
We sat in a class just a little bit ago on burnout and retention. You help that leader not to reach burnout.
Burnout, exactly. And how do you do that? Well, it depends on the situation, depends on what's going on. You find ways to help them so they're not working quite so hard, so they'll stay and work. Right? When you find that out, let me know. I don't know what it is. So a mentor or mentoring is like, what is it? So a coach is the process of facilitating the performance training, developing another person. So a coach is more performance oriented. Thinking of a coach of a team, you're interested in that team winning. You're interested in developing those people in your team to do their best. Coaching is different from mentoring because the mentoring process is led by the learner and less skills based. So led by the learner. So what's that mean? How did you become a mentor in the first place?
Something to offer.
Pardon?
You have something to offer.
You have something to offer to someone else. Do you?
Usually the mentee comes to the mentor.
That's where I'm going with this. So the mentee picks you, right?
That's usually how it works.
And how does that selection happen? How do you become mentor? What are the qualities? What are the things that?
Because you're probably probably coached the person that you At some point, you coach that person.
and they've gotten to know you,
Yeah,
and they've gotten to trust you.
Yeah.
You know, and you have something to offer them.
yeah.
And so they kind of attach themselves to you, and you become their teachers, somewhat, role model.
Give them not just the teaching, but also the opportunity to do things other than that.
Example.
You could have a scout that is, or a leader that is good in certain aspect, but they're not using that. So for example, STEM, we'll use STEM as an example. There are STEM NOVA awards and NOVA thingies that scouts can earn and that leaders can do, but they may not know about it because they're in the scout master mode. You may, as a unit commissioner, say, hey, I have this opportunity that I'm working on. If you'd be interested, I say you're an engineer, and you can work with kids doing STEM related chores and show them that that's available to them, and they might enjoy doing that, and they would use you because you showed them that opportunity. You would be their mentor because you showed that to them, and they can use you as a sounding board, use you as a person of reference for that.
And so you presented an opportunity they'd never thought of before.
Right.
You gave them another thing to do you know, to be able, so you became a mentor based on that. So coaching is different from mentoring. A coach is more performance oriented. Over here, you've got your concrete, your skills. A coach is more short term. If you consider a few years on a team short term. A mentor can be like forever, very long term, and is more interested in attitudes and behaviors rather than completing skills. So you're developing the attitude and behaviors that are going to carry them forward in their life years to come. All right, some different keys, goals, coaching, correct behavior, performance, impart skills. Mentoring is more of a support and a guide. Initiative, coach directed, self-directed, or mentee directed. Okay, focus, short-term and immediate, long-term from the mentor. Roles, telling, providing feedback. Mentor, listening, role model, making suggestions. Those are all the things that we've kind of already talked about. Good chart to remember some of the differences. So, are mentors assigned?
You know, in a sense, if you've been assigned as a unit commissioner, you don't go in as a mentor, but as you develop that relationship and they get to know you and you become an example, then you can become a mentor.
Okay,
It's a process.
but it's not an assignment. It is you got to the unit as an assignment, but you don't become a mentor as an assignment.
No.
That kind of happens as you develop your rapport with that. So a mentor is more of it's more earned than assigned. That makes sense? So a real mentor is invested in the development of genuine care. There's a lot of words that, that I would have put on the slide, I think, that, this is one of the most. So finding a mentor. How do you find one? How do you make yourself available so that they can find you? Kids have a tendency, if you look at Larry's chest over there and you see that mentor button, that Eagle Scouts tend to give to the people that affected or helped them the most. When you look at Larry, he's done more than, he's got like 150 of them on there. You ever counted them?
I've done over.
Can't, there's no room to put them there because he's made himself available to youth. And they have attached to him and he has become their mentors. And mentorships don't just end at when they become an Eagle Scout, do they? continues on. You know, some for forever, lifetime, some move on, but they always remember you. Again, so that's how mentoring happens. You make yourself available. And, you know, and people, they attach to you. So there is a handout, the mentoring process. I don't know if did you guys get handouts or do I have?
A mentor. You can see who needs help. It's important for us to step up. See if we can't help them along in any way possible. You can always tell somebody needs help.
This is I call it onboard processing record. And another one of those things that we should have been able to put up on the board. It didn't work. This is something that you would take with you to a unit. When you don't bring your clipboard and you don't bring your handouts, you kind of. And some of the things that you would look for in a unit and look for in yourself, they use the word coach in this form. You would think it would be very easy for them to go back in there and change it to mentor, but they haven't done that yet. But some of the things that you would look for in a unit and in yourself. So on here, this is the one that is the hardest. And I would have put more words on this slide here. And just sort of, and say mentoring process attitude start. So what they're talking about is the attitude of building trust and setting up the mentoring contract in the initial meeting. So making yourself available. So the attitude when you go in and sit down with someone to start the process of becoming a mentor. So during a meeting, you develop that rapport. You have and you do that with a positive attitude, encouragement in the meeting, talking up what is good, and developing that rapport that you need between you and the person that you're working with. And then in the closing, mentoring sessions close. So you're reducing. So basically, what they're saying is closing way out and closing after things have happened and you've mentored, you've taught and trained. How do you reduce the dependency of the mentor-mentee relationship and let that person basically go and become the person that they are to become? That you've all had situations where you've got young men and women that just become too dependent. They expect you, they kind of expect you to help them all the way through everything instead of letting them loose and letting them do their own thing. And that's a hard process to do. It's a hard transition to make. Larry's last class, he would never ask, I waved back at him, I raised my arms, he ignored me the whole time. And I understand that, he does that a lot, but one of his scenarios was a unit you go into that you've got scoutmasters, you've got the adults running the program. Have you ever seen that? Like everywhere, right? It's the most common problem in a unit. And I have done it myself many times. The hardest thing to do is to make that transition, to boy leader, from adult leader to boy leader. That transition just is mind-boggling how hard it is to do. But once you get that done, then the unit just automatically starts working and you get those boys trained. But it's that transition period, and that's what we're talking about here, that closing, reducing that dependency from the mentee on the mentor. So, any questions? Good. Now, another one, next handout. Don't have it. So 77 qualities of a good mentor. So, oh. Take a look at these. Desire to succeed. So, so what are the first qualities? Ability and willingness to communicate what you know. Any of us have a problem with that? Get older, it seems like it's easier and easier. I mean, you want to impart what you know to everybody. Is that a problem? It could be a little bit. Some people have a tendency to impart too much. So there's a fine line in how much you want, but the willingness, you got to make yourself available. Preparedness. Serious commitment to someone, mentee, mentor. Once you realize that you've become the mentor, you need to be prepared. So because your approachability, availability, and ability to listen, honest with this diplomacy. What does that mean? Honest with diplomacy.
You can be brutally honest or you can be diplomatic.
Diplomatically honest.
Right.
And which is sometimes brutally honest is the only way to go, and it's the only way you get it, but normally diplomatically honest.
When you're mentoring, the being too strong in correcting or helping people can cause you to be not trusted.
Not trusted. Yeah.
So you need, that's why, as a mentor, you make it a little bit easier on
You got to kind of tone it down a little bit.
Coaches are a little more blunt.
Coaches are more blunt.
Oh, yeah, they'll tell you.
Yeah, and they'll tell you right to your face what you're doing wrong.
Yep, yeah,
Mentors do the same thing gently.
yeah.
I think just being honest in general. I mean, don't give the mentee expectations that they can't meet. I think just using the mentee, I mean, obviously giving them lofty goals. Don't go above where you think their plateau is until they reach that plateau, right? Don't tell, I mean, you get a new scout, for example. Don't tell somebody who has their scout badge that, hey, you're gonna be ready for Eagle soon. Do it gradually as you go along.
Hence the reason why the steps to Eagle are gradual and they're all kind of, and you teach them how to set a goal, but setting that goal means you chop it up in a whole bunch of little bitty pieces and we do these things one at a time. And that makes it, that's a concept that people tend to not have. And that's one of the things, one of the strengths of scouting is to teach them how to set goals and achieve them.
I mean, one of the things you see, again, this environment, some of these kids' parents think they're gonna have Eagle in a year based upon past experience, and that's not gonna happen, and it shouldn't happen.
Yeah.
They'd be lucky to get first class in 18 to 22 months,
Yeah.
24 months, so.
Yeah, absolutely. So you can read through these at your leisure. So the next, okay, this was the same ones we just went into. So the next one then was this slide here, learning conversation steps. And so this is pulled out of some other course. I don't remember which one it was when they talked about the steps of learning. Reaffirmation, identifying the issue. Reaffirmation means what? Just go back so you don't see that other one because I don't want you to look at it. So reaffirmation means the mentor and the mentee spend time to reestablish connectedness using more than just normal social niceties. In a good relationship, there will be mutual recognition and emotional states and levels of trust. What does that mean? I have no idea. And I read all the words. What are we trying to do here?
Well, reaffirmation usually is related to us building that trust
Exactly.
and keeping it going. Sometimes you gotta say you did this good, you did this good. Now what do you do next?
Okay, yep. Much easier way to say it than the words that they put down here. Identifying the issue. You have to identify if there is a problem. Most people that have a problem don't know what the problem is, because they can't see it. And it's your job to help them understand what is going on and what the problem might be. Building that mutual understanding, then, you're building that relationship back with you, between you and them. And then the next thing would be exploring alternate solutions. Having a plan B. There's many factions out there that say you should not have a plan B, because if you have a plan B, you're more likely to fall back on it. You set a plan A, accomplish the plan A. Don't even have a plan B. And there's a lot of factions out there that, that say you need to have a plan A, B, and a plan C, and a plan D. So it kind of just depends on you, I guess, and how you approach problems and what it is you want to do.
Some of that plan A, plan B, B, C things has to do with still achieving the goal, but not necessarily achieving it always the same way.
The same way, and
But
that's
you
the
still
point.
need to be able to achieve the goal.
So in essence, it's still that you're still making that plan A. You just kind of did it a different way and came in the back door and accomplished the same exact thing. Very important, and in scouting, when we're, rank conscious and things have to happen, you have to accomplish plan A. But, in some, but in some cases, you kind of modify that plan A just a little bit. So alternate solutions, and then your final check is, did we accomplish plan A? That's the thing that you're talking about when you're working with these workers. So rules of a mentor. So now we have an activity. Have fun. I'm supposed to give you a 3x5 card, but you're just going to get to use either a piece of paper or the backside of one of these. So what we want to do is think about a mentor in your life and write that person's name down, and then write down some qualities, some things about that person that made them your mentor. And why were you attracted to them as a mentor? So what we want to do now is list some of, list these attributes of this person, these people in this case. What caused them to become a mentor to you? So attributes. So what did you write down? Don't give me a whole lot of words. Give me a lot of words, but then narrow it down to one or two.
He's an expert
An expert.
in his topic, subject.
Okay.
Reliable.
Reliable. And what I don't, if you use the same word, give it to me more than once, and we'll see how many times they show up.
Friend.
A friend.
Yeah, me too.
Approachable,
Pardon?
approachable.
Approachable.
You could talk to him easily.
I like knowledgeable in there.
Okay.
Yeah, they may be an expert, but they're a knowledgeable expert
Okay.
who understands how to share.
So knowledgeable being just a little bit different from an expert. Experts might be connoted as a too much of a,
Yeah.
but maybe not.
Trust him.
Trust them.
Yeah, there's an element of trust there.
friend of mine, the gentleman was bent the rules.
They bent the rules. So they are,
It didn't necessarily have to conform to everything.
okay, so not necessarily a nonconformist, but flexible,
Valuable.
malleable. I guess. We'll go flexible. Okay,
Trust for me also.
okay,
Helpful.
again,
Helpful.
help. Okay,
Someone tunnel up by stories and thinking out
okay, so,
processes.
not so much a storyteller, but,
Experiences.
Example.
experience.
Experiences would be
Do that.
certainly illustrated stories.
Okay. And so you're attracted to this person because of these attributes, these things that you look up to, things that you admire in a person. Possibly a person that you are a person that they would like to become. How do you live up to that? When they find out that you're really not like that at all. That was always my case.
I think you might say that just a little bit differently. They are a person I would like to become.
Correct. Oh, okay. So the mentor to the mentee.
Yes.
The mentee is somebody you would like to become. So then what kind of a relationship does that develop between you and the mentee?
I think it develops a friendship
Yeah.
that, further than trust,
Right. Oh, and a lot closer bond.
And I think of a battle buddy. That's kind of,
Yeah. Yeah. Good one. Okay. Okay, so go over a couple of these, make sure we have what they want you to do. So talk about the list. We did that. So that's pretty much it. So the mentors, confidence is a word that they use. Something, and all of these things put together means that you have, developed, show that you would develop that confidence between you and the mentee and you. And so they would have confidence in you. And in the case Jimmy said, you eventually will be having confidence in them. So, just about finished. So benefits then of the mentor, benefits of mentoring for the mentee, improve knowledge and skills. So again, it's not supposed to be skills oriented, but that's what they put up there. To develop confidence and well-being. For the mentor, greater satisfaction, new knowledge and skills. So implying that you are learning from the person that you're teaching. Is that the case? Absolutely. And then leadership development. So those are things. But a lot of it is satisfaction. All right, for scouting, then improve morale, motivation, and relationships. So becoming the mentor then is you have to love the people that you're working with. I really have a hard time. I don't love people very well. I'm just really. But then when I think about it, I say I don't love people very much, but in reality, I do. I just don't show it. Okay. So if you think I love you, I don't. Okay, but I kind of do. Understand? And so that's what we're doing here, building these relationships. You've got to at least really like the people that you're working with. Maybe not love. It's a strong word. I have a hard time with it, but you really like them. And that's the key to this whole thing. If that mentee knows you like them, you're going to become a much better mentor to them. All right. So mentoring is not coaching. mentoring and scouting happens organically, meaning it's just gonna happen. Kids will attach to you and you will become their mentor if you want to or not. Key to mentoring is a relationship. Mentoring is a two-way street. Mentoring can be a sustainable relationship, meaning a long-term relationship. Questions?